Hi, Tavo Betham. I didn't send a video out last week. I apologize for those of you who might have been anticipating it. Some days it happens, some days it doesn't. A very quick video, a quick communal update, a short Dvar Torah, and a meditation. The communal update is that this week the medical task force and the leadership of the synagogue will be meeting again, as we have been throughout this pandemic, to discuss the next round of potential opening of our campus. Right now, with great pride, an enormous part of our campus is being used every single day during weekday and school hours by Pressman Academy, which is soon going to be able to bring back the entire student body. They've done so courageously and so safely, and the institution as a whole wants to support as much of that as possible. And there are other parts of our institution that might want to come back into in-person experiences, such as davening or classes. I have no answers yet, but in case some of you have been wondering about when Beth Am will follow the loosening guidelines locally and statewide, we're exploring just that. And so look out for opportunities perhaps soon for YLE experiences or daily minion experiences or class experiences, some of them potentially being able to take place on campus, maybe outdoors, maybe indoors, perhaps only for those fully vaccinated, or we might get even more lenient than that. We are looking into it, and it has been a very long time. So I wanted you to know about that. Here's a short piece of Torah. I want to share something that I know is both overly simple and therefore could be considered banal, but I think there's some profundity to it. I hope there is. There is for me. I hope there is for you. Recently, I had an experience where I got a wave of awareness, a wave of wisdom that I had been handling something wrong. I'll just leave it like that. I won't get into the details. And once the awareness came to me, it was obvious. It was obvious how wrong I had been, obvious how right this new way of thinking and acting was. And it seemed in the moment that even though, as is always the case when you're handling something wrong, there is damage, there is brokenness as a result of how you handled it, that the moment it became clear to me where I needed to go in this way, it also became clear that at least part of the damage could be repaired, that there could be a 180-degree turn. Now, I know that's overly simple. It doesn't always happen. You can make some mistakes that you can't recover from. But in this particular situation, there was a clarity, not just vis-a-vis what was required of me going forward, but a clarity that this new approach could be transformational. I want to share that with you along with a teaching by the Sfat Emet, who was one of the rabbis of the Gerer Hasidic dynasty. He's not speaking about our Parsha per se, he's speaking about our special Shabbat. This week is Shabbat HaChodesh, the fourth of 4 special Shabbatot around the holiday of Purim. We then take a special Shabbat off, and then we have Shabbat HaGadol, Shabbat before Pesach. Why is it called Shabbat HaChodesh, the Shabbat of the month? Because we read a special maftir section from the chapter in the book of Exodus that begins HaChodesh Hazel Lachem, when God basically gives the Israelites on the verge of emerging from Egypt the Jewish sense of time, the Jewish calendar, that this month is going to be the first month of your year, establishing the lunar calendar as the governing celestial body of the Jewish people. And we read that in the second or third Shabbat after Purim, as we get close to Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which is the month of Exodus, happening this week. And what does the Sfat Emet say about HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem? He focuses on the smallest, most simple, most banal word in the phrase, Hazeh, this. All Zeh means is this. So why focus on this? When you live in the rhythms and the immersive rhythms of biblical verses, tiny words evoke your memory and your association from other places in the Bible. So he hears Hazeh, this, and he hears another Zeh. What's the other Zeh he hears in his mind? He hears the Zeh from the verse in the book of Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, which is read indeed on Pesach. The story, allegorical story perhaps, love between a man and a woman pursuing each other in the fields, understood by some Talmudic sources to be love between God and the Jewish people. And the verse is, Kol Dodi, the voice of my beloved, Hine Zeh, Here it is coming. This is coming. That one is coming. Zeh and Zeh. What does the Sfat Emet say? The Sfat Emet says that what's going on here is when Moshe goes to the Israelites and says to them, HaChodesh hazeh lachem. This is the month. It's time for you to come out. It's time for you to come out of Egypt. The Sfat Emet imagines the Israelites saying back to Moshe, it's not time yet. We know our Torah. We know our verses. We know that Abraham was told that his descendants were going to be spending 400 years enslaved in Egypt, and it's only been so far, according to one count, 210 years. So it's not time yet. Our sentence is not time. It's not been up yet. Our imprisonment in Egypt needs to continue. And Moshe says, Zeh, Zeh. The Holy One, for reasons that are only known to the Holy One, has compassion for you and desires your liberation and desires your freedom and desires to bring about your redemption. Up until now, God was certain on some level that you needed to be here, and God acted to keep you here. I understand that this is a challenging theology to attach to, but just go with me for a moment. But now God has changed God's mind. And what the Sfat Emet says is that this is akin to Kol Dodi Hine Zeba, when my beloved finally comes to me, wants to come to me, Midaleg al Harim, jumping over the mountains to come to me. That can turn around everything. He also says that there's a concept that one moment of truth, one moment of emet, can send away, expel what's called the sitra achra, the Kabbalistic notion of the evil forces, the other side, the dark side, if you want to use Star Wars analogy. All you need is one moment of true clarity, whether from the divine or from a human being, for some powerful negative forces to be reversed. So, the Israelites thought they were going to be in Egypt longer. God intended that. God gets clarity. God becomes a lover, skipping over the mountains, rushing to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. And that changes all of Israelite history, perhaps human history as well. The stakes are so much smaller in the incident that I started this video with compared to what's happening in national history. But in my life, and in the life or lives of the people in this moment that I will not get into the details, it's not at all small. It's rather big. It's huge. It's everything. And there is a swell, a surge of endorphins, knowing that you have been illuminated by one nugget of truth that has the ability, perhaps, to expel the sitra achra, to expel the negativity that has been hovering and turn it into something rather positive. My friends, what I want to say to you with this teaching as we get to HaChodesh, this month that is the month of redemption, is that we have opportunities just waiting for us to open our hearts and open our eyes and open our minds, excuse me while I threw that book, to the type of wisdom that will allow us on a dot to change how we look at a particular relationship, how we look at a particular paradigm in our life, and nothing is set in stone. Yes, there are endings. There are endings to lives and there are endings to eras. But there is so much that is dynamic even when things seem calcified, even when things seem paralyzed. You too can be the lover, midaleg al harim, running on the tops of the mountains to draw near to the one regarding whom you now have a completely different understanding of how to approach and how to hold and how to support and how to be present for. I wish you such illuminations, and I wish you such transformations as we get ready for our next national liberation. And I wish you, of course, a Shabbat Shalom. And if you do not want to meditate, which is fine, you can end here, and I say to you that I love you and I miss you. I look forward to seeing you soon. And if you do want to meditate, I invite you to do that with me right now. It'll be a short meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and let that wondrous feeling descend. Descend into that place which is wakefulness, but restfulness at the same time. As your body and your spirit become one again, a needed reunion. As you claim, just for a few moments, some intentional, serene quiet, where you close off temporarily the stimuli, the visual stimuli around you, simply by lowering that thin lid over your eyeballs, but is to open yourself to the extraordinary stimuli of your own mind. As you begin to breathe, you've always been breathing, but as you begin to be aware of your breath, thinking of each intake as a luxurious, intensifying warming of the body, and every out-breath as a cooling down, a recalibrating, and the process continues over and over again. And I want you to picture yourself as a zeh, as a this one, midaleg al haharim, jumping over the mountains, rushing towards, returning to, eager for, armed with new clarity, new illumination to bring towards your beloved. You're light as air. You're skipping on the horizon. Everything is possible. Truth shines from you. And negativity is dispelled. For Zeh, this is the moment when you can turn something around as you rush forward. Observe that energy, that clarity. Clutch it. Hold on to it. Search for it this Shabbat. And bring it with you into the week that is to come. When you're ready, you can open your eyes as we take our steps, hopefully rushing with great joy toward Shabbat. And I say to you all that I miss you, and I love you, and I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.